Hey, this is take two on today's video. I apologize if you hopped on earlier. I was having an audio issue, so you know already that you didn't hear anything. But I especially want to apologize to the people who commented and tried to save me from going through 15 minutes of a live stream, knowing that no one could hear what I was saying. And they commented and I didn't see it or I didn't look. I definitely saw that people were watching. I saw the little green bubbles saying who was on live, but I didn't see any follow-on comments. So I just want to say that I am really so grateful to anybody that comes on, right when I'm live. And I promise to do better about being more aware and paying more attention to those comments. So apologies. Okay, let's get down to it. So today, the topic is how do you start sharing what you're doing without feeling really pushy? So this is for you if you really want to start a business, or you've had a business maybe that's been happening through word of mouth, but you haven't actually started putting it out there online or even really telling people around you in your network what you're doing. So I'm going to share with you everything that I wish someone had told me. And I just want you to know that we have all been there. What you're going through, you're not alone. And the good news is that because all of us entrepreneurs have gone through that, I know that you can as well. I know that you can push through to the other side because everyone's been able to do it. So you can do this. Okay, now I know when I was in this position, I just wanted somebody to give me a script. Just tell me what it is I'm supposed to say, and then, okay, I'll go say it. So I'm going to get to the tactics a little later. I'm going to talk about what kind of things you should actually be saying. But I realized I'd be really doing a disservice to y'all if I didn't also talk about some really important mindset shifts, because that's really where it all begins. So the first one is progress over perfection. And you've all heard this before, but I'm going to say it one more time. And if you haven't seen my video 2 weeks ago on the topic of perfectionism, then definitely, give that a look-see. But you are going to get better at this. You're going to become more comfortable with it. You're going to be better at the way you present it. It's going to feel easier to you to talk about it. But none of that will happen if you don't actually start doing it. Because you have to start out at a point where you're not as good as you're going to be in order to learn and grow and get to that point where you're going to be better. So what you see in your mind for yourself, it's never going to feel like what you're putting out there. And it will take time to get to that point where just everything's clicking and everything's flowing. But you can do it. You can do it. You can get over this. You can get focused on the fact that it's about actually getting it out there rather than about getting it out there perfectly. You can do this. Um, Oh, I was just going to give a quick example, such as I often would tell myself, I'm not a people person, right? I'm an introvert. I don't know how to connect with people. I'm not a people person. But really what's going on there is that I was telling myself I'm not a people person, but I hadn't practiced the skill of being a people person. I hadn't built those muscles yet. And so because I wasn't putting enough practice into it, not everything comes naturally for everybody, but that doesn't mean we can't build those skills. We can't build those muscles. And the way to do it is to practice doing it and to actually see yourself as a people person. So maybe I'm halfway there. I'm on my way. Second shift, really important shift, is this power dynamic. So often when we're starting out, we feel like those people that are holding the credit cards, right? They have all the power. They're sitting back there on the other side of their computer screen and they're kind of viewing us and judging us as we scramble and we're like, please give me your money. Please give me your money. And it just makes you feel so powerless and such a disadvantage and such an icky position to be in. So let's just switch that around right now because that's not what's going on. The truth is that you are not asking, you're offering. And there's a world of difference between those two. You're offering, and think of it this way, not everyone's going to be your customer. So why would you be asking everybody to give you the money? That's not the point. You're letting everyone know that you have something to offer. That's all it is. Because guess what? Maybe they have a friend that desperately needs what you're offering. So they're the conduit to this business moving forward in a way that's completely different than that particular person giving you money, right? Oh, that's such a big one. It was a big one for me. Um, and if you are feeling like you don't actually have anything of value to offer, then come talk to me, because that's a whole other topic and it's so important. It just tears me up when I see women that are not putting themselves out there, not putting their gifts out there because they think that they don't have the value. And I guarantee you, this is what I do. We can definitely get through that because you do have something that you were meant to do. And I'm going to help you connect the dots. Okay, I don't know why I was moved to throw that in there, but it's for somebody out there to hear. And like I said, okay, perfect example. Maybe it's not for you specifically to hear, but you know without a doubt that is something that your friend needs to hear. And so you can direct them to this video. And so I'm not asking, I don't feel pushy by sharing that. I'm just letting you know so that it can ripple out there and whoever needs to find it can find it, because that's the way it works. Next step, next shift. Um, Make it part of your identity. And here's why that's really important. Videos like this can inspire you, or books that you read, or podcasts that you hear, or some conversation that somebody's having can inspire you to take action. But nothing can motivate you to take action except for yourself. Motivation comes from within. And the best way to find that internal motivation is when this thing is a part of you. It's just what you do, it's just how you are. And think of it like this: you get clear on where it is you're going. You want this business for financial independence so that you can really step into your power, so that you're taking something from within you and putting it out into the world, because that's what you're here to do. It's very important. And in order for that to happen, who do you have to be, right? You're the kind of person who put your offer out there. You're the kind of person who understands that you're going to be growing over time and you're going to get better and better. You are a kind of person who recognizes that whatever you have, whatever voice, whatever product is going to connect with the kind of people that it needs to connect with. You're the kind of person who takes risks because that's what growth is all about. You see how once it becomes a part of you, just who you are, how you do things, then all of a sudden you can tap into that motivation in a way that just somebody telling you, you really should get out there because you're going to have to, it doesn't feel the same. There's not that same uh, fire, I guess. There's not that same impetus to actually do it. So use those tools to find your motivation and recognize that it's only going to come from you. All right, let's talk about some tactics. So, say that you are going to be promoting in a group. And I shouldn't have used the word promoting because that's not what you want to be thinking about right now. Let's say you're going to be introducing your service or your product into a group. Number one, biggest thing is don't overcomplicate things. You just want to let them know that it's available. And you want to do it in a completely not pushy way. You want to be real so that you feel motivated, more motivated next time, because you realize this wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. It actually felt pretty good. And therefore, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to continue to grow. I'm going to do more. So to do that, find something that's comfortable for you. And big caveat here, it is perfectly okay if you change your language based on the group that you're speaking to. So if your dream is to quit your lousy job and have this amazing 7-figure business that you've run from a beach in Croatia, it's totally cool that you don't share all of that information with your coworkers. And it's not about you playing small. I really dislike when people use that kind of language, especially when someone's just starting out. Um, but it's not about you playing small. It's about you being smart and knowing who your audience is. So let's say you're in an audience of complete strangers in a group, and you decide that you're going to, this is the moment you're actually going to share what you do. It can be as simple as saying, "Hi, I'm so and so. I do X, whatever you do, and here's why." It can be that simple. And then there's a couple sentences about why you do what you do, and then a really simple call to action. Something that's just about maybe asking them to comment in your post. And the reason that's so important is that the more engagement you have on your post, the more eyeballs you have on your product or on your service. And so every time someone comments, it pops your post up to the top of that group's feed. And over time, more and more people see it there, and your product or your service becomes more well known. But the second reason that's important is because when you're just starting out, you really want to focus on those relationships and those connections. And so you want to be able to kind of, talk back and forth in the comments with people. And using the same mindset trick of you're not trying to sell in the comments. You don't need to feel pushy about this. You have no idea where it's going to lead. It may be that, okay, right now I'm thinking of, this is coming to mind. So sorry, Jami, I'm going to use you as an example. But there's a member of our group named Jamilette, and she's very talented and makes these amazing handmade baby blankets. So just thinking about you, I mean, maybe in the comments you end up seeing somebody and they're not your target market because they're not looking for a baby blanket or they're not looking for any kind of gift. But guess what? Their cousin distributes baby blankets. So there you go. And you wouldn't have known that, you wouldn't have made that connection if you hadn't actually, put it out there in that group. And let's say maybe someone else becomes a dear friend. Let's say somebody else isn't looking for it, but they know somebody who is looking for just that exact thing. So that's how you start to develop all these relationships that are going to serve you in the end. And then just as an example of how this post could go down for Jamilette, who makes the baby blankets, hey everyone, I'm Jamilette, and I just opened a shop on Etsy selling these baby blankets because they're the exact style and pattern that my mother taught me when I was a child growing up in Nicaragua. And I think it's so important now being here and raising a daughter in the United States. I think it's so important that we expose children really early on to all of these great other countries and other ways of doing things out there. And I noticed that when I made the baby blanket for my daughter and she asked me about it later on as she got a little older, I was able to tell her this story. And it was actually something with meaning that now she knows when she uses it that it comes from this different style and this different tradition. And I really think that's opened her mind, and I think that's such an important thing for us to be doing. So you could just say something like that. I mean, obviously you'd want it to be absolutely true. And then you'd say something like, hey, is there anybody here that's also an immigrant? Or are there any other entrepreneurs that have shops on Etsy? Or is there anyone else who just loves to sew and feels like the time flies by when they just have some quiet time to create something by hand? I mean, there's just so many ways that you can actually create connection and ask people questions. So let's talk about when you're promoting something on your personal page. Oh God, there goes that word again, promoting. Why do I keep saying that? Let's talk about when you're sharing something on your personal page, because I know from experience that this is a really difficult step. It can feel really strange to tell people what you're doing. Goes back to the same thing again. You don't know who's going to end up buying from you. And you're not trying to force each and every one of your friends to buy one of your baby blankets right before Christmas. That's not what you're about. You actually just want to let them out there, let the word get out there, because these are your friends and they are going to want to support you and they are going to want to tell people about it. And get into the mindset of that actual person. So let's talk about, again, let's talk about Jamilet's potential customer. So her customer might be somebody that really hates just like getting gifts off of a registry. She really, really wants to give very special, personalized gifts. The only problem is people are having babies left and right. Like there are all of these babies popping up and she just can't keep up with it. And so she's always looking for really special, new, unique gifts, but it kind of feels like everything's been done and there's really nothing special out there anymore. And then she finds Jamilet's baby blankets and she says, thank goodness I can stop spinning my wheels. I can stop, I can get back into this other thing I was doing in my life rather than researching online. I'm so glad I found this. So that's the person we're going after. And maybe one of your friends knows that person. It's entirely possible. And so why wouldn't you just let them help you find that? Right? And that comes down to a little bit of vulnerability and actually allowing for the fact that it's okay for people to help you. So it could be something as simple as, hey, so I guess I'm finally doing this. I'm going to share with you guys what I've been doing in my spare time. And then you go in and it's pretty much the same as the first post, but it's a little bit of a different opener. Or it could just be something like, you guys, this has been in the works for months and I'm so excited. I'm finally going to share it with you. Same thing. Uh, so just remember, keep it real. The one way to not feel like you're being pushy is to not be pushy. you know? And there will be appropriate times for your sales language, and that's something that will happen later down the road. But in the very beginning, the most important thing is just to get it out there. That's really all you're doing. And just to allow it to happen, right? Because it's really win-win. Look at it this way. Right now, if you're at a point where you're not sharing it with anyone, you're already not getting clients. So what do you have to lose, right? You're not going to lose clients. All that's going to happen is that the business will grow. And so it's win-win. Just get it out there. And the last thing I'd say is that in terms of following up on that first post, like where do I go from there? I understand how to introduce myself, but then what happens? So a really great thing to do to not feel pushy is to share stories because everybody loves stories. So it would be really easy for you to talk about someone who did get one of these baby blankets and that now she notices that whenever her friend posts pictures of her baby, the baby has this baby blanket and it just makes her feel so good because she knows that that's something that they're actually using and that the baby actually loves and that it will continue to form a part of that baby's life for years. And who knows, maybe it will get passed down onto their baby as well because it has such a special and unique story. So that's a really interesting story to share. And it's something that makes people feel good that they're going to enjoy reading. And it's not like you saying, hey everyone, just a reminder, I'm selling these baby blankets and you should really check it out. See, it's a totally different energy. Totally different energy. And so allow yourself to get creative. There, there are a lot of ways to share the good news about the great things that you're doing because I know you are capable of really great things. So that's all for now. Good luck, you guys. See you later.